Hi, my name is Sven Gruneveld, and you're listening to Brothers on Tennis.
Yo, yo, yo. What's up, everybody? This is your boy Isaac.
And this is your boy Bryce.
And we are Brothers on Tennis. And man, we've made it to the start of the 2021 Australian Open Grand Slam. We had 5 tournaments last week that somehow or another made their way through, Bryce. I mean,
right.
That was a lot of tennis to take in. It was a lot, which was cool, but it was a lot.
Yeah, it bordered on overload because, even the tennis networks couldn't cover everything.
Exactly.
I was thinking, like, I got TC Plus, I got, Tennis Channel, I got all this, and I still couldn't see everything, all the time. So, but it was a good problem to have.
Yes.
Like you said, there were 3 women's events, all 500 level, 2 men's events that were both 250 level, and we had the ATP Cup.
Yes, exactly. Just a lot of great tennis. And again, I'll go ahead and we want to always put out our spiel, if you will, for the app that we are recording on here. Folks, if you are listening to this podcast, this is being recorded on the Locker Room app. It is a wonderful platform that allows for live audio social networking for sports fans. If you are not familiar with Locker Room, you need to become familiar. So just go on out to the iTunes or your iTunes app store, download Locker Room. Again, right now it is available on the iPhone and iPad. It will be available on other platforms very, very soon. But hey, if you want to engage in real-time sports, this is the app to be on. Come and hang out with us. We talk tennis all the time, as much as we possibly can. You can start up your own rooms. You can get things going with other folks who are interested in the things that you are interested in, i.e. tennis. And just shoot the stuff, man, especially given that, you've got the Australian Open happening right now, and you can talk with others about results. You can talk about just so many different things. So, again, want to throw a special shout out for Locker Room and the Locker Room app, because we are recording on that. So we want to give out that love. So, yes. So with that being said, my brother, those 5 tournaments that happened last week, it was some really good tennis, I must say, and a lot of great preparation, if you will, for the first Grand Slam tournament of the year. What were your thoughts on it?
I thought it was very well done. And, from a logistics standpoint, it had to be crazy because you have 6 events that are all happening not only at the same time, but they're happening at the same venue.
Exactly.
And you had situations where you had people, and I saw this in the draws, where they were in singles in one tournament and they were in doubles in the other one.
Exactly. Crazy,
and,
right?
Right. So, shout out to all the people that were there in logistics and scheduling and trying to make it all happen. And then, as if that in itself wasn't enough, they had a COVID scare, right?
Yes.
So at one of the main hotels where players had been staying, one of the workers tested positive. So they had to shut everything down for a day and to get everyone tested. And once again, just want to give them props for that, because that could have been something that could have lingered for days.
Yes.
We only lost one day of tennis. It doesn't sound like anyone else tested positive.
Right.
Who may have been, in that hotel. So they were just really on top of it, the way Australia has been on top of this whole thing. And a lot of other countries could learn a lot, from the way Australia handles their business in this area. So they have my utmost respect.
Absolutely, brother. And I couldn't say it any better, because again, they have really been spending just hour after hour, night after night, day after day, just trying to make this thing happen. And I think that they did a great job. When they found out that they had a positive case, they was like, yo, shut it down. And,
Right.
and you know what I mean? They was like, we're not trying to play. We ain't going to let this get out of control. Shut it down. Let's get everybody tested. Let's make sure everybody's good. And like I said, I feel like they're really making good, responsible decisions. And I believe that is the reason why Australia is in the position it's in with basically no COVID cases, there. I think they were on like a 20 plus 25 day type of a streak of not having any cases or any.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
Right.
that's just incredible. So, yeah, kudos to them. And like I said, they're making really good decisions. Poor Craig Tiley, though. You keep seeing him on Tennis Channel, and I swear to you, every day it looked like he got more gray hair.
Wait a minute. I'm sure he's being well compensated for his efforts.
That is a very, very true statement. That is a very true statement.
When this is all and done, he gonna sit back and get him a Foster's, and everything gonna be all right.
Everything gonna be good, right?
Right. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and jump into those results. And so let's start with the women, and let's actually start with the last tournament that was added. And this one was the Grampians Trophy tournament. Now, this was the one that they added at the end because of the people that were on one of those, I think it was 72 players were on those 3 flights that came in that were, that had a corona positive test, come off of those planes. So those people had to undergo a hard quarantine. They weren't able to practice at all, during that period. And so what ended up happening is so that they would have an opportunity to play, they added a third 500 level women's tour. And it was interesting because since they started a day late, they were a day short. So that Thursday or that Wednesday or that Thursday when there was no tennis, that hurt them more than anything else. So what it ended up doing actually is causing them to have to cancel their finals. So the 2 finalists ended up, I think, basically splitting the prize fund. They both got points as a finalist at the tournament. And we had, really kind of 2 surprise finalists. We had Annette Cantaveit, and we had Ann Lee. Now, before you jump in here, Isaac, something that we saw happen across all of the tournaments is as we got later in the week, you started to see some of the top players say, "Oh, okay, I think I'm good. I've got enough reps in. I'm gonna kind of withdraw from the tournament now." And I know that happened in this tournament as well. So, what did you think about the splitting of the tournament between Ann Lee and Cantaveit?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was the responsible thing to do because, again, it's a Grand Slam championship that's about to start. So you don't want to, do anything to jeopardize that or the players. And so I think it was a smart decision for them to do that. And it didn't seem like the players had any issues. I saw the little when they were giving out the checks and the whatever anyway, they seemed like they were having fun with it, Cantaveit and Lee. So it seemed like they were okay with the fact that they had to share, if you will, in that particular tournament. So yeah, I thought it was the right decision. What about you?
And remember, if everything's back to normal, none of these tournaments are going to happen next year anyway.
Correct.
So they all got 1-year contracts. So it's not like, what do I have to defend next year? I mean, you'll be back to the regular tournaments. I totally agree with what you said. And what I want to highlight is that both of these finalists, though, had very strong wins in the semifinals.
They did.
Cantaveit took out Maria Sakkari, who is, one of our favorites. In her semifinal, and Ann Lee took out Jen Brady.
That's right.
And the other one, and what the WTA had decided when they lost that day was that all of their 3-set matches, the third set would be a match tiebreak.
Right.
And so both of those semifinals went to match tiebreaks, and Cantaveit and Ann Lee were the victors at the end of those contests.
That's right. Yeah, and like I said, and they played good tennis too. I mean, that battle between Sakari and Kontaveit, that was a good one. It went to 11-9 in the third set tiebreaker, and as did Ann Lee. Hers over Jim Brady, they also went to the third set tiebreak, and they were 10-6. So again, very, very good battles by both ladies. So yeah, they had a good showing, good week.
Yeah. So if we move up to the next women's tournament, the Gibson's Trophy,
Yep.
We had a final there between Elise Mertens and Kaya Kanepi.
Yes.
I didn't even know Kanepi was still playing quietly.
I know, right? I think 2020 threw everybody off. So a lot of names that you just really hadn't heard of, they didn't come out at all. And so, yeah, so to see Kaya Kanepi's name again, it's like, oh, wow. Okay, good. I'm glad she's still out there doing some things. And yeah, she represented herself very nicely.
Right. So Elise Mertens, took that title. And one of the things I'm hyped about is if Kanepi is playing like that, I think she's scheduled to meet Sophia Kenin in the second round of the Australian Open.
Right.
So I need for her to go handle her business.
Exactly. Go do what you need to do, Kaya.
Right. So, that was a good tournament. And then the one I think the women's tournament that we both kind of really focused in on was the Yarra River tournament because that had, Venus and Serena in it. And we were very excited about how they looked, but we know that Serena ended up pulling out in the semifinals. She was scheduled to play Ash Barty, which absolutely was the right thing to do. And she still got slammed for it by, the Serena haters. But,
of course,
who cares?
Exactly.
But we ended up still with a really good final with Ash Barty taking on and taking out Garbiñe Muguruza. And here's the thing that I got to give Barty props for. Remember, Barty didn't basically play at all last year.
Exactly.
And so she stepped back out in her first tournament and said, look, y'all, ain't nothing changed but my limp.
Exactly.
So and she snagged her a title. So, and before I turn it over to you, although Muguruza lost, let me tell you what, she's in my top 4 to win it all at the Australian Open. She's looking really, really good.
I cannot disagree. I mean, she looked really good in the final. Ash looked great. Again, Ash did have the benefit of having, not having to play the semifinals, so she came in pretty fresh. Whereas Muguruza had to take out Vondrousova, even though she did it extremely extremely easy. She went to the bread store and was like, "Hey, girl, I got some things for you. Here's this bagel and this breadstick. Now come get." That was kind of rude, though. I was like, "Damn, she put them things on her wrong."
Yeah, she was like, "Look, Barney got to walk over, and I do not have extra time to spend on you."
So let's be done and get on. So that was pretty disrespectful, but I ain't mad at her for it. But yeah, she got up in there and she played some good tennis in that final, as did Ash Barty. I was really impressed with both of those ladies in that final, Bryce. I think that they are going to do some major things, not only in this tournament, but like I said, I think 2021 is going to be a good year for both of them. I really do believe that.
I agree. So congratulations to Ash Barty.
Yes.
So let's hop on over to the men's side where there was a little bit of clowning going on over there as well. So in the Murray River Open, and I'm definitely going to let you speak on this one. We had, in the finals, we had 2 players, neither one of them who had ever won a title before, which I was kind of surprised with Daniel Evans. I don't know why I thought he had won something before, like the old Brit Open or something. But we had Daniel Evans against FAA, and this was FAA's 7th final that he was going to be in. So there was a lot of probably pressure on, here's an opportunity for him to do it. And Isaac, talk us through what happened.
Yeah. So, it's I'm a big Felix Auger-Aliassime fan, and it does get a bit frustrating seeing him get to these finals and then just really I don't know what happens, but he just kind of a lot of things really just kind of made themselves apparent to me, Bryce. And he's still got a lot of growth, which is fine because he's still young. He's only 20 or 21, one of those two things. But it's just for him, I think the variety got him. I think he made a lot of really bad decisions, i.e., he tried to change direction on a lot of balls, which was really confusing to me. I'm like, just get out there and work the point. And again, I feel like he's got a lot of improvement to make at the net. His net game needs some good work. It needs some good attention. And again, I think it just goes to the overall kind of mindset of he just didn't seem to be able to show that level of variety. And simply put, I think Dan Evans was like, "Yo,
that's right.
He ain't got it done in 6 tries. I've only had 3, so hey, I like my chances." And he went out there and he did what he needed to do to get it. So, I still am a believer. I made the statement, I think last week or the week before, Felix will win a title this year. I absolutely have no doubt that he will. But I do think that there's just certain things that he still needs to clean up about his game and even the mental piece of it when he gets into these finals. So disappointing, but at the same time, I'm still rocking with him. Because even with the loss, he was still able to get through his first round at the Australian Open. So that to me was a very strong positive. So that's how I'm looking at it. How about yourself? How are you seeing, or how did you see that final, and how are you thinking about FAA?
Well, I'll tell you this, something that I think one of the commentators mentioned, and I had not really paid attention to this before, but they had stated not only has FAA, lost in his first 7 finals, but they mentioned how he typically gets smoked.
Mm-hmm. Ain't won a set yet.
Yeah, and for those of us that follow tennis, Daniel Evans ain't nobody to play with. I mean, that was not, just because he's maybe not in the top 10. Daniel Evans can play, and he's gritty, right, and he fights, and so that was going to be a tough final. So he smoked FAA 6-2, 6-3. Now, I was mentioning to one of you guys, maybe it was David or Miles or Sasha or one of you guys, what FAA may need to do, just to get this whole thing off his back, because it has to be somewhat mental at this point, right? At 0-7. If he needs to go and play the Madagascar Open, no, I'm serious. Right. If he needs to go play the Madagascar Open, that's played on gravel, he needs to go and win that tournament just so that he has a win. At this point, it doesn't matter if it's a 250, a 500. I mean, he probably don't need to go down to the ITF level, but, get you a good 250 win. This was a 250 actually too, but it was a more condensed 250. Right. Because the longer this goes, the bigger of an issue it's going to be. And once again, one of the guys I was talking to, I think it was maybe David, who said, and then the media is going to make it a bigger deal as well. Right. Every time he comes up, every time it's about him, being in the final, this is going to be a thing. So, first of all, props for making it to 7 finals at, what is he? Is he 20 now? Or?
Yeah, I believe he's 20 years old. 20 or 21. I don't think he's hit 21 yet.
Look, there's a whole bunch of 20-year-olds I would love to have been in 7 finals already. So we acknowledge the success from that perspective. But yeah, he needs to work on becoming a champion. Right.
I definitely agree with that.
So congrats, Dan Evans, for getting that first one, and you'll need that momentum playing against your countryman tonight, Cam Norrie. That's foul that they got matched up in the first round. But hey, we've been living that situation for a while now, Coco Venus. So let's move on to the next tournament on the men's side we had, which was the Great Ocean Road Open.
Yes.
And we had a final of, and Paul talks about this all the time, the Italians coming up.
Mm-hmm.
We had two Italians in the final with Sinner and Travaglia. Isaac, what were your thoughts about that?
Well, I'm just happy again that the Italians are breaking through, and I think that there's a lot of momentum there, a lot of good play is happening there. I had only seen Travaglia's name a few times in the draw, so I hadn't really seen his game before. But I felt like he represented himself really nicely. And the fact that again he took out Hurkacz in the what was it, the quarterfinals there, that to me is a pretty solid win. Bublik, you never really know. He took him out before that, and then he took out Sam Querrey, which I was just happy that he did that.
Fugitive.
Right. Anyway.
Okay.
But yeah, so I feel like the fact that he got those wins, that's pretty respectable, and he made it to the final, and I feel like he played Sinner extremely tough. It's always tough playing a country person or countryman, and but he represented himself well. But Yannick Sinner is just a unique talent. He, in my opinion, is a future Grand Slam champion.
For sure.
Just multiple. Yeah. He will have multiple. He, in my opinion, will make the Hall of Fame and all that other wonderful stuff. The kid is legit. And like I said, he jumped up on, folks like Kecmanovic, who is another, kind of newbie, and beat him. He beat Khachanov. In the semifinals. Great match that they played. That was incredible. That one actually could have gone either way. Khachanov played a really, really, really nice match. But the fact that he got through that, and then both players were really laboring in the final, but Yannick Sinner, he was just like, yo, I got enough game to get through you. And that's exactly what he did. And he took the title, and this is number 2. And mind you, he's a year younger than Felix. So he's got 2 titles, and Felix has got 7 finals. So still kudos to Felix, like you said, for making those 7, but you got to get it over the finish line. And that to me is where Yannick Sinner is showing that he has the maturity and that champion's medal to actually get it done at the end of the day. So I am all about that young guy, man. He's legit.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, he is. You know how I am. I like to kind of slow roll the new people, try not to get so hyped about them real early, let them prove themselves a little bit over time. But he's just, doing it time and time again. And I know we're not talking about Australian Open results yet, but, I was so impressed with the match he played with, Shapovalov last night. And I do think this final that he played at the Great Ocean Road probably took a little something out of him for that match against Shapovalov. So, hey, he lost in the first round, but hey, he's also walking away from this whole Melbourne summer series with a title as well.
That's right. And he has nothing to, to hang his head about as it relates to that loss, because it was a 5-setter. Again, he was laboring in the final just yesterday that he won that title. So to come back a day after, within 24 hours, play someone of, Shapovalov's caliber, and take it to 5, that speaks volumes, man. He's legit, and that match was incredible, by the way. Those brothers was banging, man. They was just hitting the ball, amazing. Oh my goodness.
That's the future of our men's tour right there.
You're right.
That's the future of our men's tour.
I enjoyed that match thoroughly.
So, well, let's do this before we because we're starting to seep into the Australian a little bit.
Right.
Let's close up.
Close it out.
The preliminary was the ATP Cup, and Miles, just close your ears. I know you're not a big fan, but I'm telling you what, I'm feeling the ATP Cup.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I like it as an event. I still love Hopman, and I don't wish that Hopman was taken away for the ATP Cup. I wish we could have both, and maybe we will at some point. But the ATP Cup was fire again this year. Isaac, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our pats on the back right now, because from the moment the draws came out, we were like, okay, Russia going to take this.
Exactly.
Russia going to take. I mean, they just had the most insane 1-2 punch in singles. The only real option teams had to win against them was they had to beat one of the singles players to get them to doubles, because the Russian doubles team was not strong.
Right.
But nobody could do it.
Can nobody do it? Yeah.
I mean, Rublev and Medvedev, they went undefeated in singles.
Yeah, hard to lose an event when you go undefeated in your singles. I mean, in fact, you won't, because it's just that simple. If you win your 2 singles matches, you've won that round against any country. And they both were like, "Look, we're not trying to lose."
No, not at all. And I tell you what, the surprise. Now, so we called Russia to win, so it was no surprise that they were in the finals.
Right.
But I do think we were surprised that Italy, was the country that met them in the finals. I think a lot of us were shocked with how well Berrettini was playing in this tournament.
Correct.
What do you think?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Because, I mean, again, going off of what we saw last year, Berrettini really was not, as Paul said, that motivated. He didn't really show his true, skill set on the tennis court that the tournaments that we saw him in. So, there was a little bit of doubt there, but he sure did get up in that ATP Cup and was like, "Ain't nobody scared of none of y'all. I'm about to bring y'all my game." And that's what he did. And he beat a lot of really, really quality players last week, which should go extremely, far for him and his mental going into the Australian Open. So, yeah, he played well, as did Fabio. I mean, Fabio's coming off of that surgery, and, they even showed him laying up in the hospital bed a few times there. And, for him to bounce back and get him some victories, that's, again, very, very commendable. I mean, they did their thing, man.
They did. And as well as he was playing, he couldn't get past Big Bear Medvedev.
No.
And, I think I've been saying for a while, Medvedev, did we both pick Medvedev to win, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah,
correct.
okay. So, brothers on tennis, don't be surprised if Medvedev is holding up that Australian Open trophy at the end of 2 weeks. We think he's peaking kind of at the right time.
Exactly.
So let's go into this week with the Australian Open. And
yeah.
We're not going to really talk about the results from yesterday, because if you are not aware, every morning during the Australian Open, we're on Locker Room at 8:00 a.m. Pacific time to talk about the matches for the day. We talk about the upsets. We talk about the really good matches. We even talk about what are some good matches coming up. So join us there. We had a really, really good conversation this morning. I was only planning to be out there for about 30 minutes, and we chatted it up for a good hour this morning. So definitely come out and join us there. But let's talk about some of the matches that are coming up today at the Australian Open tonight. And right now, I know we have on the screen, we have Azarenka playing Pegula, and they are 5-5 in the first set. Azarenka was up a break. She was up 5-3, and now she's serving left 30 5-all. What are you thinking, Isaac? Is Azarenka going to pull this out, or
Yeah, it's hard for me to see Pegula being able to take her out, even though she's looking good right now. I think Azarenka has that next gear that she'll be able to, kind of pull into, and similar to how she did Serena. Lost that first set and then came back blazing second and third at the U.S. Open. So no, I feel like Azarenka is still she's safe. She's safe. She's just getting herself right, and I do again see her getting through this one. Tough one though, because again, I just feel bad for this early round, this first round, because we like Pagula and we want her to to be able to go far in these slams, but unfortunately, that's a tough one.
Right, right. Yeah, we have Azarenka going far, and I agree with you. I think over the course of this match, she'll find a way to pull this one out. Now, how excited are you, Isaac, tonight for this blockbuster matchup we've got? We've got hometown favorite Alex de Minaur against American COVID case Tennis Sangren. How excited are you to sit down and watch that match tonight?
Well, I don't know that I would say I'm excited to watch it. I'm excited to hear the results of it. And I fully expect Alex de Minaur to do what he is expected to do, and that is, get that victory. So, I'm a big de Minaur fan, and I'm hoping that he is going to do everybody some good and get that win. How about you, Bryce? How are you feeling about that match?
Oh, I'm excited, man. I look, I heard that Tennis Sangren's groin is a little tender, and I just need Alex to run him to death. I don't want him to hit two balls to the same side of the court the whole night. I want Tennis Sangren to tap out.
Say tap, tap, tap. I'm done. I'm done.
So
I can't do this.
Right. No, my goodness. And, early result that we have, which once again, this was just another unfortunate first round matchup. We had Elise Mertens facing Leylah Fernandez.
Yeah.
In the first round. And Elise Mertens did her best version of a child stay in school type of, message. She really put the smackdown on Leylah.
She really did. That one was surprising to me, to be very honest with you, because I actually think I even picked Leylah to get through that match. But yeah, Mertens was like, "Little girl, please, everybody scared of you." She was like, "You better grow some more before you come out here trying to swing."
Right. These are full grown women out here playing.
Right. Say, I was a grown woman. You're not quite there yet. You ain't ready.
No.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Okay. Also, we get our first look tonight of Coco Gauff against Jill Teichmann again. What about that?
Again, man. Repeat. I tell you what. Now, this is where I'm hoping it's not like what you were saying, where the underdog ends up coming back and getting that victory, or the one who not underdog, but the one who lost the last time comes back and get the victory. Because, Teichmann played her, like I said, extremely tough last week. And the fact that it was in a third set tiebreaker, and to me, Coco was lucky to get out of that match. I'm hoping that she has a little bit better form and that she's able to, get things done a little bit cleaner and easier. But I just don't know that I see that happening. I think this is going to be yet another 3-setter, and I don't know who to call to take it. I'm hoping Coco can get it done. But like I said, Joe Teichmann ain't no joke, bro. What are you feeling about that one?
I'm nervous because, Teichmann's a little more of a veteran than Coco Gauff is. So I have maybe a little more faith in her ability to course correct.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think Coco is the better player. She just needs to, remember that the second serve is supposed to also go in the box. And, and then that forehand, she needs to keep that in the court herself.
Yes.
So,
yes.
I mean, if she does that, I think, she'll win. I'm personally excited for, and I'm saying this and watch it be a blowout, Berrettini against Kevin Anderson tonight.
Yeah, that one I feel like is going to be a really good one. I think we talked about that being one of our popcorns, and I think it will be. I really, really believe that it will be. It just, you can never underestimate Kevin Anderson. I mean, he's a Grand Slam finalist, so I just feel like he's always going to bring a good, strong game. And I just think he and Berrettini are just they're going to be blowing it out because they got big ground games. And yeah, it'll be a good match. It'll definitely be a good match.
Now, are there any ones I didn't name that you have like a particular interest in tonight?
Not really. Well, I think what Tsitsipas and Gilles Simon is going to play. I mean,
right.
Yeah. So that one will be good. Like I said, I do think the Pospisil Medvedev will be fun.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be fun to just see how Medvedev smacks him up and how that's going to come across. Because I feel like he's played him now, and he's like, okay, I kind of know your game now, so I feel like he's going to smack him up a little bit. But yeah, that's about it as far as the ones that are coming on that I'm really like, yo, that I'm wanting to see.
Right.
Yeah.
So as a reminder, if you want to hear us talk about the results of all these great matches that are happening tonight, join us at 8:00 a.m. Pacific Standard Time here on Locker Room, and we will chat it up. So, Isaac, you want to let's invite some people up now and see what are their thoughts?
Let's get their thoughts. I'd love to see what they think about the tournaments last week, as well as they want to talk what's also happened at the Australian Open.
Right. So if you want to come up and chat a little bit about some of these results, send me a speaker request. Otherwise, you're just going to make me pick you guys out and bring you up anyway.
Let me just pick you and pull you.
Right. All right. There we go. Hey, Sasha.
What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
What's up, Sasha?
Good. And we got Nick coming up too. Hey, Nick, welcome. How you doing?
What's up, Nick?
Hey guys, how you doing? Happy
Good,
late
man.
birthday.
Thank you. I'm still paying for it today, but we're working on that. So, Sasha, tell us, what are your thoughts about, some of the results so far?
Yeah, firstly, I don't know if you guys saw Monfils' interview last night after his loss. I mean, he's a guy that, is never sad, which was weird to see him, in literal tears in the press conference, and then they kind of ended the interview right there. And it seems like he just has zero confidence. And yeah, I mean, I thought he was going to lose it because of the way he's been playing, but to see him like that, it was just a little bit concerning. Not sure what he's thinking in terms of his career. I mean, he's probably going to fight and try to come back, to play competitively in the top 30, but I don't think it was this bad because apparently he hasn't won a match in a year at this point. The last time he won a match was when he won a couple matches right before he almost beat Novak that tournament, which was around this time last year. And that was one of the craziest things to see. Of course, there's Chapo center match. You guys covered that. That was an epic.
That was a good match this morning.
Yeah, that was great. In all honesty, I did see. Who did I see? I did see Kenin actually earlier, which was on day 2. Looked pretty solid, but I mean, definitely not going to be that same form like how she ran hot last year. That's going to be interesting to see. I think you know who I think on the women's side yesterday was interesting? Swiatek.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Swiatek, just because of the lack of play that she's had ever since the French Open. I mean, she looked pretty good. I mean, 1-3, and I think she could make some noise. I mean, it's not going to be that easy. She doesn't have a tough draw. She doesn't have an easy draw. She's got that bottom half and stuff, and this is going to be interesting to see how she progresses along.
Well, I want to go back to you talking about the Monfils interview because I'm telling you what, it's exactly like you said. We're so used to seeing Monfils so jovial and happy and very excited, and to see him in tears really got to me last night. And although he was speaking in French, when they translated what he said, about not having any confidence and not having had any wins or whatever, that was just really heartbreaking to hear because you knew it was sincere. Now, the good news is I've heard a couple of things since. Number one, I've I heard that I guess he talked to his mom, and his mom gave him that, oh, that's all right, baby. You just go back to practicing, and you'll be all right. So he got that from his mom, and then I did see a message from him where he said he was going to be back out on the practice courts today. So
Sure.
I think he just needed to get that out, and maybe that was kind of like a rock bottom for him yesterday. And definitely hoping that he's got the whole season ahead of him.
Yeah, for sure. No, he does.
Exactly.
And
he's in the stands watching Svitolina have a hard time winning that first.
Oh man, don't even talk about winning a first. That became difficult because I have some money on Azarenka, and now she's messed that up.
Wait, she got two more sets. She's got
Yeah,
two more sets.
I know. Yeah, I just can't believe it. I 5-3 30 love. And what happened was like, I stopped watching when she was up early on in the first set because I turned it over to Rublev just because I'm a big Rublev fan. And I just wanted to watch that. So then I was following the scores, and online it said it was 6-3. So that's why I wrote in the chat, like, yo, she took the first set. I'm super confused what's going on. Then I go and check, and I turn it on, and actually she had just been broken back. And I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me.
Right.
Unnecessary stress on a Monday night.
Right. Well, we know who her coordinator is, so, they definitely will have an opportunity to come back.
Yeah.
Now, hey,
sure.
Nick, I saw you made a comment, which is a very good point. A lot of people are very interested to see what Rafael Nadal is going to look like tonight because of his back and him not playing any of the matches in the ATP Cup. What's kind of your thoughts on Nadal and how he's looking?
I don't know. The only thing right now that I have is ESPN2. So, and you know how they like to chat before they go to the tennis, which ticks me off. But they they showed a part of his press conference, and normally at a major when Nadal's all pumped up and ready to go and he's talking energetic. I mean, he was talking like Monfils, and
oh, really?
And they showed him on the practice court, and you're not going to go all out necessarily on the practice court, but he was just fluffing those serves in. So that back injury might be for real. He might have tweaked something. He was just going through the motions on his serve, but it's practice. He doesn't really have to do anything but get the timing down. But I got big question mark because I like him a lot. So
yeah. Is Nadal your guy? Is he your one out of the big? Everybody has their favorite big three person. Is your guy Nadal?
Well, if Federer's not around, yeah.
Okay, I knew I liked you, Nick.
Followed by City Pass. I'd like to see him get his head right and play some tennis. But
instead of hitting his dad with his racket or something.
Exactly. Yeah. But I like Nadal. I've always liked Nadal.
Sure. No, Rafa's great attitude. I mean, never say die. Literally talks about everything in such a positive light, while other players may be complaining. It's a lesson to learn even outside of tennis. I think he's so great that way. Super inspirational.
Right. So I have a question for all of you, and I'll start with you, Isaac. So on both the men's and the women's side, if there were to be a dark horse champion on both sides, somebody who we're not necessarily, saying is a favorite to win, who would be your guess as to who that would be on the men's and the women's side? So Isaac, let's start with you.
That's an interesting question. For me, I'm going to stick with my girl because I just feel as though folks are not taking her seriously, and she's about to bust on the scene, and she's going to shock a lot of people, and that's going to be Rybakina. I feel like I really feel like folks are not giving her the credit that she deserves. She got game. That young woman has some game, and I feel like she is about to do some good things. So I would, if I'm going to call a dark horse, I'm going to put my coins on her. As far as the guys go, if it's kind of like, I don't know if you consider this to be not talking about someone, but I honestly, I would kind of have to put Shapovalov there. I don't know if he
Okay.
qualifies.
I was kind
Yeah.
of thinking that too.
Because I tell you what, he showed a lot of grit in that 5-setter against. Because Yannick Sinner was like, "Look, I ain't going nowhere. I'm a play you, and I'm gonna play you strong." And I mean, I feel like he was emotionally there. He was fully engaged, and I feel like that win is really going to get him back on track to kind of where he was early last year and end of 2019, where he was just kind of really finding his form. He was working with Mikhail Yuzny and just really showing some good, strong possibilities. So for me, I would say Rybakina on the women's side, and I would say Shapo on the men's side.
Okay.
All
So
right.
Sasha, who do you think?
Yeah, for the men's, Rublev.
Good one.
I mean, he's in hot form. Like, I feel like him and Med just feel like they may not be able to lose. But in terms of dark horse, just because he's not talked about, he's outside the top 4 seeds, definitely him. And depending on how intense and how crazy he can go, it really depends on him and where he is mentally at times, because sometimes he loses focus. But sometimes when he's so engaged in the match, he's just like hard to even get through, I feel like, and it's not easy. And I feel like the top 4 guys, if there's one player they don't want to play, it's Rublev. It's
Right.
Rublev on any given day. And he's just one guy that's just going to be relentless, even if he's down. And I do remember him saying his idol was Rafa, and he kind of tries to model that in his intensity, where he's just going to keep trying no matter what. And I think he kind of does that, but obviously not to the same extent. But that way, I got to give him props to that, where he can maintain a lot of intensity. But on the women's side, I got to go with Kvitova. If she runs
I have noticed that is your girl.
Yeah. So Kvitova, I'll never forget in the 2019 Aussie Open too, when she did show up to the finals after all her stabbing scares and whatnot, and then kind of came up and then just made that finals. It was kind of incredible. But when she's just on and actually flies under the radar, she plays better, is what I've noticed when the pressure's off her. And she looked pretty good yesterday, won in straight sets. And yeah, I mean, as a dark horse, I think she's legitimate. I mean, she's won slams before, so why not?
Right. Okay. Now, Nick, who do you think?
Dark horse. For the guys, there's something about him that I've always liked, but he just can't win those tough 5-setters. Is Roenick from Canada. I
Oh,
would
okay.
love to see that guy get it together. And I don't know, he's just workmanlike. He just plays, and there's no nonsense about him. And
Right.
but there's just that hurdle. I wonder what it would be like if he ever got over that hurdle. And then the women's, I know she's been there before, but no one's talking about my girl Muga. And I know she got beat in the final badly, but I don't know. I like her. I like Muga.
Actually, I think Muga is one, to me, in terms of who's playing well right now. She's in my top 4.
Right.
Yeah.
I would put her with Serena, Osaka, and maybe Sabalenka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She doesn't get much press though.
Right, exactly. So no, those are all some very look, I think the really cool thing about both the men's and the women's tours is that they're so deep. There are people who have legitimate chances probably down into the 20s, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
I mean the men's
Oh my
situation
God!
has
Did
been
you
a
see
little
that
different.
forehand from Rublev?
He's
stop
got
it.
yeah. But with the men's, we know the big 3 have kind of dominated, at the end of the day. But I think that's turning around now.
Right. So, Bryce, who are your dark horses?
Oh, who are my dark horses? That's a good one. It's so funny. I listened to all of y'all and didn't even really think about, my own.
We wanted to hear yours.
Yeah, I guess if I were to pick a dark horse, Oh, and it's tough because I don't think he really falls into. I don't know if you guys think he falls in a dark horse category or not, but I think if Tsitsipas can get
that's fair.
if he can. If he gets inspired and he's a very spiritual and emotional player, if he starts playing well and he's being very creative and he's coming to the net a lot and he can sneak up and win this thing. These courts favor that type of gameplay. And with Roger not being here, everybody else is they're kind of all baseliners.
Right.
I'd like to see it. I'd like to see that.
Yeah. So he would be my dark horse on the men's side. On the women's side, and I know y'all are going to just laugh me out the entire room on this one. But believe it or not, my dark horse is Venus.
Okay.
My thing is, if Osaka somehow does not make it to the quarterfinals, if she somehow gets upset and Venus gets through to play Serena in the semifinals, I would not be surprised the way that Venus is hitting right now. That could be an upset. And if she and I honestly believe if Venus gets into another Grand Slam final, I'm really not afraid for her of anybody on that other side of the draw, whether it's Barty, Pliskova, Kenin, Azarenka. I would say Venus has a shot there. Now, I know that's the darkest of horses right there. But, it could happen.
That's right. Why not? That's sport. That's absolutely right.
I mean, with the women's, literally anything can happen when we think about the history of the Grand Slams of the last couple of years, right? So I wouldn't even fault you for bringing her name up. Why not? And if she gets to the finals, I feel like she'll be willing to break a leg just for this because she knows we'll probably want her probably her last
exactly.
Like she'll do anything and everything. We'll probably even see a dive. It's not even more about the player that's on the other side, how they're playing. It's about how much effort she's going to give, and she's going to give it all.
And I'm going to tell you what, just like I said about Tsitsipas, we've been asking Venus to do this more and more, but if she could just get a very aggressive mindset and make her way into the net more often, I know she gets caught up in those baseline rallies a lot of the time. That's where Venus excels on the rest of these ladies.
Right.
And if she can get to the net, but like I said, she has to actually do it. So, well, look, I want to thank Nick and Sasha for coming up. We have to get ready to wind this up because we have our after show on Instagram after this. So hopefully we see you guys over there. But Isaac, do you have any final words before we start to sign off here?
No, man. I just am so happy that we are in the midst of the Australian Open, another Grand Slam, and it sounds as though the listeners are out there watching these great matches. So yeah, it's all good. And please come support 8 a.m. Pacific every day, Monday through Friday. Definitely is a good way to talk the talk on the day's matches.
Absolutely. And once again, just one more reminder, if you're listening to this as a podcast, please take an opportunity to get the Locker Room app and do like Nick and Sasha did with us today. Come up and join us, engage in the conversation, and we want to hear what you think. We're interested, This is not just us talking to you. We want you guys to talk to us as well. So with that, enjoy all the tennis. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., and this has been your boy Bryce.
And this is your boy Isaac.
And we are Brothers on Tennis. Enjoy the Australian.